Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with the 2017 Maserati Levante S. Now it has 855 horsepower, 762 pounds-feet of torque from a 3.6 litre twin turbocharged V6 engine, and the car itself now weighs 3,574 pounds. Came with all-wheel drive standard but now has rally springs and off-road tyres, and it can do 0 to 60 in 3.325 seconds, 0 to 100 in 6.123 seconds, and going to a top speed of 231 miles an hour. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this can do in comparison to other modern SUVs, because in its stock form it was really rather quite subpar in terms of performance in comparison to those cars. But obviously with more than twice the power it had originally, and extra handling upgrades and off-road components, it would be interesting to see what it can do in comparison to those other SUVs. Now granted, I'm not expecting it to do as well as the Lamborghini Urus or the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, but in comparison to the Porsche Cayenne and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, we'll have to see, because they were quite quick but not quite quick enough to get into the top 10. So yeah, interested to see what you can do in comparison to those two cars, because this is obviously quite similar, especially in comparison to the Stelvio, which also had a small capacity V6. And is obviously Italian, just like this. So yeah, be interested to see what this can do in comparison. But yeah, I have to say I'm not a massive fan of this car in stock form. Far too little horsepower for a car that is quite large and quite heavy. And yeah, in comparison to the likes of Alfa Romeo or the Porsche or other SUVs, yeah, its horsepower ratings just really aren't that competitive, really. I think the only car it has more horsepower than in terms of the SUV range is the Jaguar F-Pace, but that has less weight, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But here it's doing pretty damn well, to be honest. Don't think it'll beat the Citroën from the previous episode though, which was really rather quick, and surprisingly so, especially for a car that never had all-wheel drive standard. This obviously did have all-wheel drive standard, but how will it do in comparison? We'll have to see. We're coming up to the finish line now. That is surprisingly quick once again. Really wasn't expecting it to do that at 2 minutes 2 seconds .816. So despite me thinking it wouldn't beat the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, it actually did. And it's not even all that far off the Lamborghini Urus by only 0.2 of a second. And it thrashes the likes of the Porsche Cayenne Turbo and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, which both did around 2 minutes 7 seconds. And yeah, it's also quicker than the likes of an Opel Manta 400, Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, a Subaru rally car, and yeah, like the Citroën DS from the previous episode, which again was a surprisingly quick car, but this is even more so. And yeah, can't quite nail down why, really, because it doesn't particularly weigh all that little. It doesn't have the most amount of power I've ever had on a car in this series, but maybe it's just a general compromise in the fact that it has plenty of horsepower, but not so much that it's out of control, and it doesn't weigh too little to be bounced around or lose control, but doesn't weigh so much that it's going to be slow. So yeah, maybe it's somewhere in between the middle, really, and yeah, worked out really rather well. And I imagine if for a bit of practice I could probably beat the Lamborghini Urus, considering how small the time difference is. But yeah, it's gone into a solid third place behind not only the Lamborghini Urus but also the Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. But yeah, that is a great time, and yeah, really was not expecting it to be that quick, quite frankly. But yeah, expectations have been more than met, quite frankly, and yeah, I just wish there were more modern SUVs that we could compare against, because there are a few on this game, but not quite as many as I would like to have on this game, so we could have a proper competition between them all. But nonetheless, that is a great time, and yeah, surprisingly good car. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.